us who are here, if you can take some time to glance over the minutes from last meeting. Can we even approve them?
I did.
I don't think we can take any motions without having a full quorum.
Okay.
But we could definitely have a discussion, but we can always have these approved at the following meeting on the 26th.
Well, then do you want to go right into the discussion to start on the update? Let's see, start with public comment. And then I don't see that we have anybody else in, although we do have a guest, but I don't know who that could be. So.
Be me.
I see you, Tim, but I see an unnamed guest in the meeting that may or may not be a member of the public. But if I don't hear anything, we can move on to reports from staff.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we get 2 more people to join us, and at least we'll have a quorum. But yeah, we can definitely move on to number 5, which is update on Block Grants Advisory Committee appointments and vacancies. I don't think we have anybody from the public. So as I mentioned, we have 5. Well, now we have 5 vacancies. We did have 4. Now we have 5 because of Georgina stepping down as of today. And at next week's city council meeting on the 20th, the item of the incumbents being appointed again is up on the agenda. That includes Robert Doyle, Ryan Fisher, and Patricia Solorio. We do have 2 new applicants, Carmen Escalante and Shauna Nicholas. And we will see what happens next week at the city council meeting. Have any of you had any of your council representatives reach out to you by any chance? They don't always do. Just curious.
I have not.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that is it. Any questions on the appointments and vacancies for next week? Next week's city council meeting, I believe that the plan is to have it be an in-person meeting. Yeah, I don't believe you have to be in attendance, but if you wanted to be in attendance, as far as I heard, unless things change, it was going to be an in-person meeting. But I can definitely double check if you are interested in attending. Should we move on to update on existing capital and public service activities, Ryan?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. We'll pass it on to Alicia.
I don't have too much to report on since we're just starting the new fiscal year. But for Chapel Plaza, which is a rollover from 2020-21, we're still waiting on the construction numbers and we should be getting them back this week. We're waiting to find out if we can go with a contractor who's been selected through their joint construction process, or if we have to go out to a formal bid. They also reported that parking and an access easement is going to city council on the 20th as well. Then there's the 3 new city capital projects. There's the ADA pedestrian safety and accessibility improvement project the public work has not completed the design for this project yet, but once it's complete, they'll advertise for construction, and we'll make sure to have our pre-construction meeting before that. For the Prescott Park project, we have a meeting scheduled for this, I believe, Thursday. The Wharf Hydrant project, we have our pre-construction meeting scheduled for the 14th. And also for Capslo, for their new funding contract, we'll also be having a pre-construction meeting, just going over the guidelines and reminders. Communify, which is a rollover from 2020-21, they have 4 assessments pending and 12 jobs with the contractor at the moment. And Good Samaritan Shelter's kitchen and dining room overflow shelter rehab, the pre-construction meeting is scheduled for the 27th of July. Public service updates, all the contracts have been mailed out, so we're just waiting to receive them back with all the required documents. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia. Ryan, do you want us just to go ahead and move on to CDBG process for 21-22?
Yes, please, unless you think we should do a roll call, just to formalize who's here.
Sure. So Ryan Fisher,
Here.
Esther Acosta,
Yeah.
Tim Seifert,
Here.
Rosalie Marquez.
Here.
Great. So I'm going to call off, just since we're recording this, I'm going to call off the others' names. If you are here, please let us know. Robert Doyle, Jason Tamura, Georgina Duran-Kahn, Patricia Solorio, Iván Teniente, Jose Aguilera Galvan, Angel Lopez.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, so a quick overview of the upcoming key dates. Next Tuesday, July 20th, we are going to go before the City Council to amend to amend our action plan for the current fiscal year. The reason we're amending it is, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the reason we're amending it is because we had 2 agencies that let us know in June that they are no longer going to be using the funding. It's Unitarian Society and also Communify. Both said they just were not going to continue the program. And so therefore for Unitarian Society, Good Samaritan will be taking over the warming center, and Meals on Wheels has accepted. We reached out to them to see if they would be willing to take on the 15,000 that Communify had been allocated so that they can provide additional meals to seniors. So this will allow the same groups that were going to be served by this funding to continue to be served. And it to us seemed to be the most effective way of being able to continue to meet the needs of these populations. And these 2 agencies were willing to step up and take on the additional funding. What this brings us, though, is that we do see a potential for an issue in the future. For example, Good Samaritan now taking over the warming center. That's technically a separate program than their emergency shelter. And so therefore needing to also apply for funding for the warming center. And I know that in the past, we were allowing multiple programs. I believe that the rule has been that an agency can apply for multiple programs, but that agency will not get more than the 10% cap collectively. But then they also can't get less than a certain amount. The way it is right now, Good Samaritan wouldn't be able, or any agency for that matter, wouldn't be able to apply for multiple programs because our cap is too high and our minimum is too high and our maximum is too low. So what we were proposing was that moving forward, an agency could apply for multiple programs, and that program would be subject to the 15% minimum and the 10% cap. And it would be based on the program, not necessarily the agency administering the program. But at the same time, no one agency can have more than 2 programs funded. That was going to be our happy medium, so that in the future, for example, I'm going to use Good Sam again. If Good Sam were to apply for warming center and also for emergency shelter, they could still qualify for the 15,000 minimum up to the 10% cap, which is the 10% of the public service. So right now it's about $24,000. So technically, Good Sam, let's say you fund both programs at 20,000 each. Technically, Good Sam would be getting 40,000, but it would be getting it for 2 programs. So you're treating it more on a program basis. What is that program? What is that program doing for a population, for a group of individuals, instead of looking at, how much money is this agency getting overall from us? So that's really the reason we were having this meeting today, was to get your take on it, what your thoughts were, and have a motion made. Or you can choose to not allow that and still just continue with the way we have things set up right now, with the understanding that agencies will probably not be able to apply for more than 1 program. Any thoughts?
No, I don't have anything. Tim?
Sure. It sounds very reasonable. Where did you come up with the 2? How did we come up with that number? Just 2 programs.
Yeah, I just came up with 2 because I figured if we don't put a cap in the amount of programs an agency can apply for, we have lots of agencies that do so many wonderful things with so many different programs. We could technically have them apply for so many different programs. And then if we don't have a cap, it doesn't have to be 2. I just figured we already have a minimal amount of agencies being funded. Right now, I think we have 14. I think we're trying to bring it down to 12. That would still be, 2 per agency, I think is reasonable, so that it still allows for other agencies to also get funding for their 1 program. But it doesn't have to be 2. I just figured we would put a cap of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. And I don't have any problem funding programs rather than entities. We know, obviously we do our due diligence. We know the entity is a good steward of the money, and Good Sam obviously has been in the past. So it's probably a good thing they're taking over that shelter. And whether or not they get funding, that has to go against the next committee's funding allocations too. So there's no given there. So I don't see an issue with it. Do we have an issue with a quorum tonight? Do we have a quorum?
We don't.
Okay, so we'll talk about it, but we can't have any action item then.
Correct. So the goal was that when we go to our city council on August 17th, when we present the needs to the city council, that we would also present this to them. That way we could just do it all in 1 council meeting. We could still definitely do that and just say that because of the lack of a quorum, we did not have an action given, but however, there was discussion, and in that discussion with the committee members that were present, this is what they said. So we could definitely do that, because it would still go to council for ultimate approval.
So it's just a recommendation to council anyway.
Yeah, but it would be definitely a recommendation that's coming from the committee, which is ultimately the committee that does all, all the site visits, and really has a huge hand in who gets what and how much.
Whether we had a quorum or not, it's still just a recommendation that they have to accept or don't take. So yeah, I think that's a great action, and I think you still recommend that to the city, and if it's up to them, I don't have an issue with that. I think it's good thing moving forward, and you're recommending either. Thank you.
I go along with Tim. So there's no,
This is S, and I also agree with Tim as well.
Great. Well, thank you for the feedback. Yeah.
Non-quorum.
Yeah, yeah, it's not necessarily an action, but it's definitely a really good discussion that we're having. And we're having it in a public fashion, so that's also important. I did want to take this time also to address a few little things that I wanted to address as part of our overview of our upcoming key dates that we had discussed at the last meeting. And it'll be quick. The first thing is the survey. We had discussed putting out another survey. And the more we thought about it, since we just did a survey back in March, we didn't feel like things had changed that much that should warrant another survey at this time. We were anticipating the eviction moratorium, for example, to expire on June 30th. It was extended to September 30th. There's still plenty of emergency rent assistance out there. While things have changed a bit since June 15th, since we reopened, we're still not seeing the significant enough change to, I think, warrant another survey only 3 months after we've done one. So, and we also didn't want to. I know there's a lot of survey fatigue right now. We didn't want our survey to get lost with all the other surveys, and people they're a little burnt out on all of it. So we figured we would wait a bit, and maybe even just wait until the next process starts again, and then really get a year-to-year comparison instead of just a few months. We didn't anticipate things changing that much in the last 3 months to warrant another 10 to 15 minute survey. So what are your thoughts on that? We can definitely still put one out. That's not an issue. We just didn't want to have the survey lose its impact on the community.
Yeah, I
by
think
putting too many out there.
soon to do it now.
Yeah, we things I don't think have changed too dramatically and just yet. So we'll see what the next 6 months bring. Also, there was a discussion about having our community needs workshop in person and or doing a hybrid. The in-person workshop would still have to be social distancing. And at this time, people would still be required to wear their masks. And if we did a hybrid, that according to our city clerks, which is the ones that have dealt with it the most, it's kind of a hit or miss situation. It's not the most. We unfortunately don't have the best equipment for hybrid situation right now. Tim, what's been your experience when you have tried to do hybrids with Planning Commission?
Oh, Rosie, to be honest with you, I stopped going to commission meetings. The very first couple people were showing up, and then like after 2 of them, when all this COVID started, I was the only one that showed up to the meeting, and so I just quit showing up. It was easier for them to do it without us there. So you'll have to check with the people putting on those meetings. I haven't been to a planning commission in over a year. I mean, we haven't had them. We've just done everything on Zoom. So
Yeah.
City Council has met. I don't think they ever stopped meeting. So they have some experience with the hybrid, I believe.
Yeah, they have quite a few hands on deck when council meetings take place, just because of all of the technical issues. I think we're just having to basically do a makeshift type of hybrid right now because unfortunately we don't have the equipment. I know it's something that they're looking into because I think in the future they do want to offer, even when things get back to normal, I think having that hybrid option is a great thing. And I agree. So here's what what I'm proposing. Maybe for the community needs workshop, because we are going to be dealing with so many people that participate, doing it at Shepherd Hall would not be an option because they still would require social distancing and the mask, and there's just not enough room for everybody to social distance who's going to participate. And then offering a hybrid, we just don't have the technology at this time, especially not at Shepherd Hall. We could try doing it at City Hall, but then we would definitely have to bring in other people to be there to help us offer that. So my proposal is that for the needs workshop at the end of the month, we just do it all online like we did last year. It did prove effective. We had a lot of participation. And what we liked about it too was that we were able to record it. And so the recording really is huge for people. Sometimes they want to play it back, and it's it is really a helpful tool. But when we meet, so we're canceling the August meeting, but when we meet in September, we can definitely meet either here or at Shepherd Hall. We just have to social distance. And the process right now is also to sign an attestation form saying that either you've been vaccinated and you don't have to wear a mask, or that you have not been vaccinated, which would require you to wear a mask, or you don't fill it out at all and you have to wear a mask. But that's being required of everybody that's working here. And I know the commissioners are going to have to do it, and also our committee members. But the recommendation would be that for the time being, because of the logistics, especially, the community needs workshop be virtual, but then the September meeting, we could definitely meet in person, because then we just have to deal with socially distancing 15 members as opposed to 15 members and then potentially 25 to 30 participants. Thoughts on that?
What is the September meeting? Which meeting are you talking about? A regular?
Oh,
meeting?
just our regular block grants advisory committee meeting. We could start meeting again in person if you all wanted. I mean, and again, that's totally up to the committee.
What are you thinking, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, to just go all online for the needs workshop, and then just socially distance. Because even if we have some members of the public come in, it's not going to be that many at a regular meeting.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, our September meeting, how often do we get participants in our regular meetings? Very rarely do we get somebody that participates in our regular meetings. So, okay, that was it on my end. I just wanted to put that out there. I know that, I mean, I know ideally it would have been nice to do the in-person thing, but we did look into it and just seems to, it's still, I think, a little soon. I'm very interested to see how everything goes on the 20th at the city, because that'll be our first official city council meeting after the pandemic, or since the pandemic started, that we'll be meeting in person. So it'll be really interesting to see how that works.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. What, Tim?
Now for the next meeting, there's only 10 people anyway. We're 5 short.
Yeah, we are, but hopefully not for long. There's should be appointments next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing else from anybody, or if nobody has any reports, anybody have anything?
No.
And then Rosie, if nobody has anything else, I'll adjourn the meeting at 5:55.
Thank
Okay.
you so
Wow.
much.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you
was
so
great.
much. Appreciate it.
I
Thank
like these
you.
meetings.
Yeah, I know, right?
I could be barefooted. I could be in my jammies.
We'll see you on the 26th. It'll be virtual. You can still be in your jammies.
Okay, all righty.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.